We've got the hang of how the Chinese writing system works with these two hacks. We've also picked up the top-tier radicals to build more characters and words. But are you still jumbling the components over and over? Stay tuned. This episode has the answer. They call it learning, we say it's fun. Welcome to Fun Mandarin 玩中文。大家好, I'm Bryan. Growing up learning to read and write Chinese, I still remember those frustrating moments when I would misplace a component in a character. Even missing just one stroke could cost me the entire mark for the question on an exam. Or worse, I'll be punished by writing the same character 30 times. I'm sure you don't need to go through that, but I bet you can relate to the frustration of repeating the same mistakes after practicing over and over. Most likely, you've heard the advice to practice more or follow stroke order to avoid these mistakes. Sure, stroke order is important for building good writing habits, but no offense, that's only part of the solution. Understanding the structure of the characters is the real fix to the problem. So, what exactly do I mean by structure? Each Chinese character is like a square. Every part must fit within that box. As I mentioned in the first episode, think of a character as a house. When building a house, everything has to fit in the right place. Linguists call this structural relations. But instead of using that terminology, I prefer to think of it as the floor plan. Imagine the floor plan of the house. A good layout ensures the kitchen is easily accessible from the dining room. A well-designed home minimizes unnecessary steps and makes life more convenient. Okay, I'm no feng shui expert or interior designer, but the concept of a floor plan in Chinese characters works in a similar way. It ensures that each component serves its function, whether it's for meaning or sound. Keeping this mental picture in mind will help you place the components correctly in each character. When we take a closer look, we might find that different research defines the structures in different ways. But no worries, we can narrow it down easily and focus on the most common ones first. By doing so, S-tier radicals will certainly come into play. Using them will help you pick up the most common structures as well as high-frequency characters. Before we check out the most common structures, aka the floor plans, let's do a quick recap of the S-tier radicals. We're gonna have a pop quiz called A 还是 B. I'll show you two options and you'll need to pick the correct radical that matches the English meaning. Now, grab your pen and paper. Be sure to write down the correct radical, not just A or B, because we'll need these radicals right after the quiz. Number 1. Mouth. A 还是 B? Clearly, it's A. 2. Heart. A 还是 B? The answer is B. 心 is the radical variant of 心. It looks different, but both carry the same meaning of heart to characters. If you're not familiar with radical variants, check out this episode later. 3. Fire. A 还是 B? The correct answer is A. If you know the radical 火, then you should also remember 火 is its radical variant, meaning fire. 4. Wood. A 还是 B? This one is easy. The answer is A. No hassles about radical variant, as it's the only form, and it does look like a tree, doesn't it? 5. Bird. A 还是 B? Of course, the answer is B. Interestingly, Niu is also one of the S-tier radicals from the animal categories. 6. To eat. A 还是 B? The answer is A. 7. Clothes. A 还是 B? They look a bit similar, but the answer is B. E has radical variants. Did you see it earlier? That's right, it's E. Another variant is the bottom part of E. Alright, now we've got these radicals from the S tier. We're going to use them to see how these radicals fit into the floor plans and find out the most frequently used ones. Imagine you're the interior designer and you need to draw a floor plan to each of the character I'm showing you. You'll fill the space for the radical with the color, leaving the rest of the space blank. Or fill it with a different color. The color is up to you. I'll use red for the radical and black for the components. First up, we got 口, mouth. This radical is the perfect one to present the most four common structures. Let me demonstrate you the first one. You might have a better idea how it works. For example, 和. In this square, the radical 口 fits at the bottom, so I will color the bottom part red and fill the rest of the space with black. You can leave it blank if you like. Clearly, this is the first structure, top-bottom. Now, I'm going to give you 5 seconds to draw the floor plan for each character and see how 口 can fit into different structures. 指 吃 和 Ready for the answers? Clearly, 指 is also a top-bottom structure. But you can see that the radical 口 is at the top, unlike 和, where 口 is at the bottom. For 吃, 口 is on the left, and the component on the right makes it a left-right structure. But then, 和 shows that 口 can also fit into the left-right structure, but on the other side. So, we've got 4 different floor plans based on the examples of characters with 口. Keep these floor plans in mind because we're gonna level up the challenge. You'll see a sentence with characters that have the heart radical 心. All you need to do is spot the characters with the heart radical and draw the floor plan for each one. Ready? 我想他一定是忙到忘了买情人节礼物。Let's check out the answer. Did you spot that 想 and 忘 are both top-bottom structures? 忙 and 情 are both left-right structures. Now, you should have a much clearer picture of how the floor plans work. Easy peasy, right? Then, get ready for the next challenge. Let's go from a single sentence to a full dialogue. In this challenge, you will need to find the characters with the fire radical and draw their floor plans. You can pause the video if you need more time to read and write. Ready?
今晚我们要煮什么？
煎牛排、炸薯条、炒面和烤鱼。
不用麻烦啦，热一下中午的剩菜，再烫个青菜就好了。
Alright, now we're gonna walk through each line. So,
今晚我们要煮什么？
we can easily spot 煮 with the fire radical at the bottom. So we have the top-bottom structure. Then, the conversation lists some food. 煎牛排、炸薯条、炒面和烤鱼。I bet you found 4 cooking methods. 煎、炸、炒 and 烤. 煎 has the same top-bottom structure as 煮, while 炸, 炒 and 烤 all have the fire radical on the left. We can find a character 烦 in
不用麻烦啦。
Did you find the core radical is also on the left side? In the last line, we can find a character 热 in
热一下中午的剩菜。
热, it has the fire radical variant at the bottom. Then we got 烫 in
再烫个青菜就好了。
also has the fire radical at the bottom of the structure. What patterns do you find here? That's right. The 火 radical usually appears on the left, while the variant 火 is often at the bottom. Even though we can see a few characters like 烫 having the 火 radical in the top bottom structure, but generally speaking, most high-frequency characters follow this pattern. 火 on the left, and the variant form 火 at the bottom. Congrats on passing this challenge. Feeling more confident now? Let's move up to the even higher level. There are 6 S-tier radicals in the next dialogue. I'd like you to focus on 木、鸟、石、言、一、力. You should write down the characters that include one of these 6 radicals. Then draw the floor plans for each of them as well. Again, you can pause the video if you need more time to read and write. Alright, eyes and ears, here we go. 你晚餐只吃这样就饱了吗？再吃一块烤鸭吧。
不行啦，再吃的话，表姐送我的裤子就穿不下了。
哎呀，喝杯茶，吃点水果，总可以了吧？
好吧，我发誓，明天开始会更努力运动。
Let's go through each line of the dialogue. Firstly, we can find 2 characters with radical 食 in the first sentence. 你晚餐只吃这样就饱了吗？餐 and 饱. The radical 食 in 餐 is at the bottom of the structure. As you can see, when 食 is at the bottom of the structure, it is the same as the standalone character, whether it's in traditional or simplified form. However, when the radical 食 fits into the left-right structure with another component, have you noticed that? The traditional form loses just one stroke at the bottom right, while the simplified form changes slightly. 饱 is a good example that shows the nuance. Then, have you seen 鸭 in 再吃一块烤鸭吧? The 鸟 radical appears on the right of the character 鸭. Now, let's look for 言 radical in the next sentence.
不行啦，再吃的话，
话 has the speech radical on the left. The speech radical 言 can be used as a single character, and the traditional and simplified forms are the same. When the radical 言 is combined with the sound component, the traditional form remains the same, while the simplified form changes slightly. So, did you spot the characters with the close radical in the next sentence?
表姐送我的裤子就穿不下了。
The character 表 has the radical variant of 一 at the bottom, while 裤 has the radical variant 一 on the left. I believe you've now noticed the pattern of the floor plan for 一. When a character has its radical variant 一, it's always on the left side. And of course, the other radical variant is at the bottom. Next sentence from the dialogue. 哎呀，喝杯茶，吃点水果，总可以了吧? If I single out 杯 and 果 for you, what do you see the radicals in these 2 characters? That's right, they both have 木 wood radical. These 2 characters demonstrate a good example of how this radical can fit both left-right and top-bottom structures. But in general, you'll see it in the left-right structures in most high-frequency characters. If you know any characters with 木 at the bottom, share your ideas in the comments. Alright, we're nearly there. The last sentence.
好吧， 我发誓，明天开始会更努力运动。
We can easily see the radical 言 fit at the bottom of the character 是. When it's at the bottom, it stays the same in both traditional and simplified Chinese. On the other hand, the radical li appears 3 times. At the bottom of 奴, as a standalone character li, and in the character 动 on the right. Well done for getting through all the challenges. Give yourself a pat on the back, and a thumbs up for this video would be much appreciated. Before you go, let's wrap things up with this chart. We've used 9 radicals from the S tier and identified 4 common floor plans. As you can see, each radical works best with certain structures and shows up more often in specific ones. The examples highlighted in yellow are the ones where the radicals have more than 10 high-frequency characters in that structure. Therefore, we should try to visualize these floor plans when practicing new characters with these radicals. It will help trigger your memory and make it less likely to mess them up with other components. I highly recommend starting with the S-tier radicals. Pick 2 or 3 characters to see how they fit into the pattern. When you're practicing, draw out the floor plan first before you start writing. So next time you see the character or need to write it, you'll be able to visualize it faster and more accurately. If you're not familiar with other S-tier radicals, no worries. Be sure to check out our second episode. And the S-tier radical list is now available on my Ko-fi page. You'll also find more character examples for the 4 common floor plans in this e-booklet. I hope you enjoyed this episode. 谢谢收看 Fun Mandarin 玩中文，记得点赞、留言和分享。我们下次见。